Yeah. Oh, where I get a throat tickle the moment I go live. Sorry, friends. It takes a while for people to generally show up anyway. Sorry, I'm not going to make it any more bright in here. I don't want the light right now. I want to do a wildfire roundup to figure out what the heck happened today. I mean, for myself, not just hang out with you guys. I'm so sorry I wasn't here earlier. If people are, tuning in right now past midnight, it's almost, jeez, it's almost 2 in the morning. Or if you're tuning in later on the 5th, I wasn't here on the 4th. I knew some stuff was going down, but I was with my mother and a family members, from what I gather, had a heart attack. So this has been a bit of an emotional day. It was already an emotional day, then I get to find out stuff like that. So there's no way I could sleep right now. It's time to kind of pour myself into work, So as I wait for anybody to trickle in, if anybody's awake, I wanna catch up on things. It appears there's been a lot of lightning today and high winds. And some of these fires, they kind of knew what it was about. And if you click on watch duty, they're talking about the series of lightning strikes, and that's what our topic of conversation was the other day. When nobody shows up, though, I don't know if the live stream actually launched. Whoops, it's also resized wrong. Why is it in a weird shape? Oh, that's because I put it in a weird shape. Okay, gotta explain that. Resize the wrong window. Okay, I should be able to see chat and see this now. A whole bunch of little half-acre fires kind of showed up in this pattern. I'm assuming that's lightning because we've had a lot of thunderstorm type stuff further south, but in the Portland area, there's nothing. I was surprised that in the middle of the night, what sounded like a whole bunch of thunderous gunshots went off, and then there was lights in the sky and just freaking fireworks. There's a big fireworks show. I guess it was the end of a concert or something, but I figured something must be wrong. But near Portland was a dead calm today. So, yeah, maybe it was down here by the Murphy fire. Yeah, the lightning fires. So, Oregon Department of Forestry Southwest was saying since our last post, we received a number of smoke reports. Our recon was able to confirm a lot of them, find a few more. So last night was a pretty windy night. A couple of mods have told me, oh, geez, Twitter. It opened to Twitter. Sorry. Finger slipped. And so I knew there's, oh man, finger slipped again. Okay, I'm off it. So I heard a bunch about that, but I slept like a baby. Actually, I had trouble sleep the night before, and then slept like a baby once I finally got to sleep. Hey, Strange Reverend, how you doing? Yeah. Oh, thank you. That's the first thing you did. I'm gonna pin that. Thank you, everybody who donated. I haven't been able to check emails or do anything since the last kind of troubled stream where, I'm still not 100% well. Tried to do a roundup and we kind of got off on other topics, but um, that's what I'd like to do right now. Um, it's not like I can sleep very well, and I'm wondering the status of a family member who's had a heart attack. I'm sure everything's going to be okay tonight, but try telling my brain that and to calm the heck down. I'm working on it, the deep breaths and stuff. So, how you doing, Strange? I can't remember where you're at and why you're up in the middle of the night most of the time. Well, I'm not entirely with it. I was already having kind of a bad time with my stomach. Mom came by to cheer me up and then hear about cardiac event. I mean, what they're calling it. From what I can gather, it's so far so good. So I'm not going to try to think about that. Just wait for the next set of news. Um, so there really was no wind to speak of in the Portland area. Like I said, they even had fireworks outdoors at a show that alarmed me greatly. Just sounded like a bunch of explosions. um, some sort of an outdoor concert, I guess. Oh yeah, you're east of Modesto. Yeah. Well, good, good. I hope you're not awake because you're troubled, but you like have a night job or something like that, or you're just an owl like me. But it looks like it was a doozy, a lightning strike. So I want to get up. Right now I can't see the chat because I'm only on a two-monitor system. I'm going to show my radar. That okay? Yeah, that actually is almost lined up correctly. Okay. I look like a weird vague shadow of a head. Maybe I should turn that off, but I don't care. Um, we've got some odd wind, and moisture patterns here moving around. Generally, the monsoonal or whatever they like to call it, thunderstorms come up due south and just basically go due north where they're from. But there's just this weird stuff coming from the east, moving across Walla Walla to the Tri-Cities area towards Yakima. I think I did see a little bit of lightning in the clicker here. Um, I don't know, about an hour ago. Could be crazy. But there's a little bit more moisture coming all the way from Butte, Montana over here, drifting across Idaho. It's hard to see states in this night mode, but then you got down in the Four Corners area, you got some honest to God lightning happening right now, headed towards Twin Falls. Four Corners. It is Four Corners, actually. Never mind. California, Oregon, Nevada, Idaho, Four Corners. So this, yeah, stuff's going down, unstable air. I think we're still in the red flag areas too, but I thought that I had red flag conditions ticked. Did I? Did I have that ticked? I may have turned it off because it kind of dominates the screen with a big pink area. Yeah, let me see. Alert. Yeah, weather alerts. I didn't. Okay, so I think that's a small craft advisory off of Lincoln City. Yeah, you just click on it, see what it does. And usually it'll say red flags and stuff like that, but we can check something else. We got something swirling around in the Pacific, and Canada is still ablaze. But we knew that. What's that up there by Alaska? Alaska's in red flag. The Copper Basin is in red flag. Fairbanks has a fire. The Stewart Creek. Oh, that's prescribed burn. It says RX. That scared me for a second. I was like, Alaska? Anyway, it's still a work in progress. Their wildfire tracking part of my radar. Well, I do look like a mysterious dark figure, don't I? Oh, well. So it's not the weather right now that's concerning me greatly. It's what happened earlier today. I want to wrap my head around it. So you're just a night owl. Good, good. I'm always fighting that. All right, let me turn off my radar. So it's like I just walked in. I mean, I walked in at midnight, but I did a couple of things for the stream. I ditched NordVPN and I've got a new one. I don't want to jinx it, but I'm delighted with it. It's fast. So I'm hoping this isn't just a one-off fluke because literally I just turned it on. So this is a great use of the funds here, and I'm very grateful to everybody's donating to try to keep me going through August here. Um, so there's what this means, like these little fires that are colored, but they have the cross through them, means they're set up to not be the kind of fire you're notified about. They could just be smoke reports. Just like if there's many in a little area, they're not going to put notifications on like these little half-acre confirmed smokes, on cameras. Um, they're part of the broader lightning event or something like a minor spot fire from a different kind of fire. So when we zoom in here, we're seeing that most of them are even less than half an acre. So a lot of times what's happening is fires actually don't take. I know that sounds weird. Like once a fire gets started, you would think they would just be guaranteed to keep burning. But the nature of lightning strike fires is sometimes there's some moisture and it's kind of sputtery, or like maybe a dead tree was ignited, and but mostly stuff's green and moist around it, or just got a soaking if you're lucky. So sometimes by the time crews like kind of get near it, get up to it, it's kind of petered out. But their job is to make sure, of course. And some of them take, some of them don't. But if you have dry lightning and high winds, and of course, not much rain or moisture for a while, like, Oregon's been in red flag on and off. We've had very little rain due to El Nino, which makes Pacific Northwest hotter and drier than usual. Because of those factors, a lot of them took today, and you can see it. So like Morris Creek fire, just lightning fires. So firefighters are working on what sounds to be lightning-caused vegetation fire, ground and air assets. That was 14 hours ago, at noon. But like I said, family emergency. I couldn't really get to things today. But next best thing, hop on when I can, let you know what happened. Now, I want to know, did wind affect any of the big ones like the flat fire? So I'm glad though to hear that it's been cloudy enough to keep things cool over by Modesto. That can be an oven. 5 hours ago, around 9 p.m., somebody uploaded this photo. This, of course, wasn't 9 p.m. It would have been dusk and twilight. So this is from way earlier in the day. So on August 4th, this is what the flat fire looked like sometime in the early afternoon or something, or maybe almost exactly at noon. The last thing they had to say about the flat fire was, let's see, is this. Click a button there. So today's activities for the flat fire, they were successful today with aerial ignition. They're burning out to areas to increase fire line depth near Game Lake and southeast corner of the fire, generating smoke in both areas. See, they're talking about being successful in aerial ignition. Like sometimes fire doesn't want to take. It's just lands in something that just don't want to burn, or if there's no wind or anything, fire needs air. The little ping pong ball thing full of incendiary, whatever it is, it just kind of burn itself out if it lands in like a stump that happens to have a little bit of water, a pool of water in it or something, or just land in rocks. So they were successful in lighting more fires, and we're supposed to be happy about that. Okay. And they're happy about it. We're happy about it, I guess. Because like I said, in areas where you don't have any roads, you have to get dangerous. You don't have a lot of options. You basically just have to, on calm days, try to start the fire ahead of itself so that on the windy days when it approaches, it's got almost no ready fuel to get, into a giant monster. So people who don't like roads in the wilderness, well, guess what you get? If you can't put crews in there and fight the fire with crews and engines, what you're going to get is a drone dropping incendiary ping pong balls all over the pristine Mother Nature's landscape, and they just hope for the best. So please, please tell other environmentalists roadless wilderness is a mistake. You don't have roads, it's much harder to get control and keep control of what's supposed to be a control burn. So, all right. So structure protection crews continue to work on the flat fire, and they are recording structure info for future protection needs, meaning they're taking a little inventory of what buildings are out there that need to be protected. And I'm hoping that that includes finding, historical structures and, the former cabin sites and mine sites and whatever, even if it's a collapsed log cabin from the 1800s. Hey, it's a collapsed log cabin from the 1800s. Let's protect it. So, less and less of the Western history is surviving on the landscape. So they've got a morning update on the flat fire, which is, well, we're almost ready for the next one. I'm going to look at it anyway. Wait. Oh, darn, it won't just play. We really have to go into Facebook. Of course we do. Because why would we just give information to the public when we could put it on social media behind a login and a forgot your password thing? All right. Yeah, this was from the morning of August 4th. Yes, it's 2 in the morning on August 5th, but I missed a lot today. Let's watch it.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Dan Quinones. I'm the Incident Commander for Pacific Northwest Team 3 with your morning update for the flat fire. Out here on the roads and contingency group, the efforts continue from yesterday and they're going to move forward for today. Several more days of work to go out there, removing brush, making sure that shaded fuel break is in place, access, egress. Actually got folks watering roads down for safety and to make sure that road bed stays intact throughout the duration of the incident. Good progress going on there.
Okay, when he says access and egress, remember egress means escape. So like if a restaurant fails a fire inspection for blocking the means of egress, that means some idiot probably stacked a bunch of restaurant supplies in front of the exit door, right? You can't have that. You can't expect people to have to move stuff out of their way in a fire and when it's dark and everything is well aflame. So means of access is roads, means of egress is also roads. How do you get to a fire and how do you escape it if stuff goes south? So like I said, you want roads already on the landscape ready to use so you can stop a wildfire. You don't want to have to start making the roads when the wildfire is coming. You want to have them pre-made because fire moves fast. So in order to make crews safe, they got to make sure they can get in and out quickly. Otherwise, it'd be suicidal to put them in there and rolling the dice with their lives.
Actually got folks watering roads down for safety and to make sure that road bed stays intact throughout the duration of the incident. Good progress going on there. Going to start here on the division break.
Translation, we have a really crappy road to deal with, or we just had to make one ourselves, and the road bed is unstable. So we're taking time, even though wildfire is coming, to just kind of improve a road. Roads have got to be improved already and just ready to go so they can just, boom, start fighting the fire.
Actually got folks watering roads down for safety and to make sure that road bed stays intact throughout the duration of the incident. Good progress going on there. Going to start here on the division break like I did yesterday, move around. So the black line is again the containment line that we put on there, currently holding at 28%. Want to make sure that we got great security that we can really stand behind as we move forward, and that's why we're holding at that right now. Going around all the way back to the anchor point, Oak Flat, Agnes, Illahee, right there at the confluence of the Rogue and the Illinois. A lot of great work has been done over the last 2 weeks, and we're going to continue to do that, make sure we have that security and that nothing changes. The structure group is continuing to move around, like I said yesterday, making sure we don't miss anything, making sure we stay available. The weather's going to be warming and drying just a tick. So we're not looking to get rid of anything, but we want to stabilize and make sure we have the resources in the right place and they're available at the right time should they be needed. And that structure group is a key piece to that. So they're hanging out and they're going to continue to do some scouting and some awareness. As we move around.
I just want to show people what they're looking at. This is a great close-up that this person with the camera is doing awesome. Um, Black line is what they are talking about, that if done right, means fire cannot pass. Like nobody expects it to pass the black line. And so that's when they call it containment. But in places where it's tricky, definitely you want to have secondary kind of a backup. So like right here, wish I had the little pen thing working accurately again. One day I will. Actually, it does work accurately for the full screen. Hang on, guys. Let's pull the pen up then. It does work accurately when it's a full screen. Only when I'm not in full screen does it not do that. Okay. Ha 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 ha. I can use it. Okay, this. Wait, you can't see it. Okay, one sec. All right. Display number one. Yes. It's still on number. Okay. Wait. Come on. I know what to do. Transform. Yes. It worked. Okay. So, that right there, these little X's, that's lines under construction. So you're looking at this black line. This is where they're getting their percentage of containment. And he was talking about it being 28. That's contained, but this must be a particularly tricky spot. It looks like it's a peak right here and stuff. So they're building this one right here. I'm sorry, that's a dirty picture. You didn't see that. I always accidentally drop genitals. I really am not trying to do that. Okay, so trickiest spots have been where there's no roads. No roads. So the east and south and kind of southwest portions of the fire are going to be their biggest problems. So like I said, you know, this area just might be lost all in here. Maybe there's some endangered species there, it doesn't matter. Since there's no roads here, where would you stop it? They came to that conclusion, the same one I did, that since these are good roads back here, they're putting lines where there are roads. So they are, most of the time, black line happens because they widen and improve a road and get rid of the vegetation on either side of it and kind of burn away perhaps some of the vegetation. Okay, sorry. Loud sound outside. And they just kind of maybe burn away some of the dry grass and stuff around it so that they can hold it if the fire approaches. So um, this is kind of rugged, steep terrain. So having contingency lines, backups, is quite a good idea. So I'm happy to see that they're hard at work at this. Contingency line. Don't know what this one's about. It may be that they expect it to spread this way. Because there's no road here to stop it, that's for sure. So if the wind did blow hard to the east, it'd be hard. So these big things that look like gates and stuff like that, they're not actual openings. That's just the crews are in different areas. So when a crew like is assigned to Division Zulu, his work area is in between here and here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in between. I don't know if I forget if it's this symbol or the parentheses one, but both of those are just where it just designates where people work and which areas are which areas when they talk about mapping. So don't worry, it's not like it's a mountain pass where the fire could come or they don't have something there. So in general, if you look at a clock, like midnight is alpha and like 2 o'clock would be like, you know, B or whatever, and Charlie would be 3 o'clock. 6 o'clock, might be, something. And by the time you get up towards midnight, you get things like Zulu, right? So it's just going to be alphabetical, usually in clockwise order. That's why you get Z next to A. I've never even seen a B before, so don't know if that's just considered unlucky or how exactly that works. But that's how you read this stuff in general. These battle maps. So the red portions are where the fire's been the most active, and like its perimeter mapped usually every single night, usually 10 to 2 in the morning. Right about that time, they'll fly airplanes with infrared and usually sometimes LiDAR. So if you see at night planes with like a green laser on their belly going by, there's just 3D mapping. Because a lot of times these maps are not really that accurate. Like, maybe the latest map for the area was 5, 10 years ago, sometimes older. So last year's summer storms may have washed out a road or something. They need to know that. And LiDAR will give them pinpoint, accuracy of what's still around to be seen as a challenge. LiDAR can sometimes even map, a single fallen tree if it's big enough across a gully wash or something like that. It's pretty magic stuff. Let's play this again. I just want people to see, know what they're looking at.
Right place, and they're available at the right time should they be needed, and that structure group is a key piece to that. So they're hanging out, and they're going to continue to do some scouting and some awareness. As we move around to this piece of the fire, like I talked about yesterday, a little bit of heat here in the center. That's that natural edge of the fire we've been monitoring, and we've been utilizing our plan of infrared detection, showing that heat, visible smokes popping up, and we're jumping on those with aircraft. Helicopters from the helibase over there in Merlin, which is on the east side of the hill. We don't get to see that too much, but it is there and fully operational to support us. And we also have the batch plant, the mobile retardant batch plant at the Agnes Airport. So we got a couple different tools utilized for the helicopter, keeping that in check. And again, this line up here, should it be needed in the future, if this fire pushes us and we got to go in there and take some action, that is prepped, that's planned, that's ready to go. And we also have a hotshot crew and a wildland fire module in there, just putting the finishing touches on the plan, making sure they understand it, making sure that it's briefed, and really keeping an eye on that for us. But no intentions right now of doing anything other than what I've talked about, keeping that in check with buckets and making sure that we can hold on to it. Down around this corner here, Fance Ranch, we talked about it yesterday about inserting some helitack folks. Yesterday we had 10 of those in there. 10 more folks. They put some check line in there. They knocked down some hazard trees so they could work safely. Very large trees down there. Had to get some advanced fallers, utilizing all the tools in our toolbox. They got that piece taken care of. They actually had a piece over here that they got taken care of, and the task is completed. They got the check line put in. They got the hot spots knocked out, and they returned home with a successful assignment. Again, that's part of the plan. Go in where we need to, come out, and keep an eye on it, and make sure it doesn't move. That southern piece is that steep and rough terrain like we talked about. Again, moving down to the south and coming down to the southwest, aircraft are not detecting really any heat, but we are watching that. It doesn't matter how far in it is. We want to know where that heat's at and making sure that we can jump on that with, again, the plan that's in place. The Game Lake piece, however, we did do some aerial ignition on that to try and close that loop, making sure that brush that's unburnt, those snags that are in there, they're not going to come out on us, and we have the upper hand, and it's moving on our terms. That'll continue today as well. As we come around the horn, a lot of great work was done yesterday in the southwest corner of the fire. That's where the smoke's coming from. That's where the majority of the focus is. But we have folks all around the fire maintaining that full suppression strategy. The aircraft was in there doing some work with a helitorch, and that's a little bit of a heavier piece of equipment. We have ground ignition, we have aerial ignition with the drones, small insertions of aerial application. Then we have what's called a PSD, or plastic sphere dispenser package, that comes in a helicopter. That's the next level, and the helitorch is really the upper level that we have. And again, we've been talking about timing here for quite some time. That vegetation that we have out there isn't quite dry enough to burn the way we need it to burn, but we know in 2 to 3 weeks it's going to dry out, and we don't want it to burn on its terms. We want to go in there with a little bit better tool to be able to take care of that threat, make sure that goes away, and do it deliberately. We have all the tools available to us. We're using them from top to bottom, and that's having some great success down there and providing that additional security. Night shift's going to continue to move around and patrol and hold and be a presence in the community. Speaking of the community, we're going to go and talk to Agnes today. Go out there and do a little public meeting with those folks at 1400 today. Looking forward to that, having those discussions. And today is our shadow day. It's the last day for Pacific Northwest Team 3. We do have a command of this incident until 0600 tomorrow morning. But Northern Rockies Team 2 is here. We're downloading everything we can with them. We're making sure that they have a clear understanding of what the strategy is, the tactics that we're using, and really want to emphasize the immense community support that we've been getting from everybody around here, and not to take that lightly and use that to their advantage. It's going to be a good day of sharing information, another good day of the plan going well, and we got the weather to support us, and the firefighters are working really hard. So that's my last report from the flat fire. Hope you folks have a great day, and hope that we've done you right. We've done our best. Appreciate you.
No, we appreciate you. And did he just say Hella Torch? Hella Torch? I have to figure out what that is. I mean, that sounds awesome. Okay. Let me fix the window. One moment. I couldn't see chat, but now I will in a sec. Okay, fit to the screen. Okay. Jason Craig, hey, welcome. Argentina had a 6.2 quake like right now. And what is this mousetrap crap? Anyway, that's just being, that's what Facebook thinks I want to see. Dang. Hella Torch. Firefighting Heli Torch. Heli Torch. No way. I'm thinking like Apocalypse Now. Ride the Valkyries playing like a torch, like a flame thrower on a helicopter. Holy. What the heck is that? It's a flame throwing helicopter. All right. It's carrying around a big flammable barrel from which spews forth dragon fire. Dang, this is Greek fire. I mean, this is a dromon of the sky. You know what a dromon is? Okay, it's the reason why the Byzantines ruled the waves, man. It's Greek fire on the prow of a ship, and so they just row up to other ships, and they'd be like, "Why is that ship approaching? It's not even ramming speed or anything." Ah, because that's the flamethrower is approaching you, man. It's just gonna incinerate your ship. The Byzantines invented some sort of well, they didn't, but I'm sure they paid scientists from all over the world, and somebody arrived, some alchemist arrived, and they invented something akin to napalm in the ancient world, and it was a trade secret. So eventually, when all the people who knew the secret got killed, apparently nobody kept the recipe. But it's generally considered to be a primitive napalm. Naphthalene definitely was an ingredient. Um, Kind of a jelly kind of a thing. Probably a lot of resins, turpentine sort of thing. But they had a very specific, detailed set of descriptions on how it burned. And water made it worse. So, of course, the poor people on fire here who are jumping into the waves are not really going to find relief unless they dove really deep there. You couldn't put out a ship that had this stuff on it. So once the flamethrower reached the ship, basically you had to abandon ship. I mean, you can only keep so many sand buckets on a ship in case an oil lamp is knocked over, So the Dromons had 1 to 2 different tubes, basically, and sometimes they're depicted as blowing into the tube, like it was this chemical in there. But no, human breath can't get that going. They would have been bellows, like at the forge, like at a blacksmith, and it was projectile flame onto other ships, close quarters stuff. I have no idea how they even kept the original Dromon from incinerating itself, but they must have known some secrets, like how to protect themselves from it. They could have maybe, you know, draped some sort of soaked cloth over their own ship. I don't know. Hey, Urban, how are you? But basically the helitorch, a helicopter Dromon, basically it just kind of carries around a little barrel of fun. Wow. Okay, and you thought doing this was cool. All of a sudden they ask you to do this. It's like the end of the movie Battleship. You have to see the movie Battleship, the one with Liam Neeson and stuff. It was a meme, just for fun movie that they actually got a whole bunch of World War II veterans to make cameos at the end. And I don't want to tell you the entire end, but I don't want to ruin it for you. You just have to see it for the end. But aliens basically took over areas like Hawaii, and so the most low-tech weapons are working against the aliens because they can detect all our high-tech weapons. So they actually get World War II battleships out, like They actually sailed one of them for the movie, and they're like, fire upon Honolulu, and the guy giving the orders is a Japanese American, right? And so one of the World War II veterans goes, a Japanese captain has ordered us to fire on Honolulu, and the rest of the American, old timers go, holy shit. Excuse my language, but that's a quote. And it's after midnight, so um can you imagine the reaction of, like, you're a helicopter pilot, you're used to dumping water, and they're like, here, would you please swing this around in a dry forest for us? Holy shit. Hey, Urban. I'm not sleeping well tonight. Family member had a heart attack. That's why I wasn't here earlier, and I feel terrible about it. That was what we just watched was, um, like I said earlier, sometimes fire doesn't want to take if it's a little bit moist. And Oregon usually has moist forests, it's not exactly right now. So I've actually had difficulty lighting this island. One of these islands, I don't think it's here or something. An island is an area that just because the wind changed or whatever reason, fire hasn't burned that area yet. Like these little things in here are islands. There's always some islands, pretty much, just because fire obeys the wind. And sometimes, such language. Um. Anyway, so ironically, they're trying to fight fire with fire on the flat fire, and it was a little bit too moist, and they're having trouble lighting the landscape on fire. This they just explained. They had a helitorch, and that's what they mean. Yo, swing around this giant kerosene or whatever the hell barrel, please. I need to see how this works. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Fire will rain down today on massive White Rock Lake blaze. That's an old, headline. I'm not talking about today. Tools for vegetation management helitorch. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Where's this thing been all my life? Okay, all right, back to the task at hand. Yeah, there's some lightning today. There's some lightning now, and for some reason, the storm is coming from the east, which is pretty unusual. But guess what we hate? We hate east winds, because what are east winds? Hot, dry winds from the desert. So east winds in general, we hate. And if you're in Northern California, you also hate north winds because there's actually a desert in between Oregon and California to the north of Shasta. So a north wind comes from stuff like near Cave Falls and just kind of slides in and bathes Shasta area and Redding with, hot, dry winds. So something today did occur near Shasta, and I'm afraid that this is in the car fire's footprint. I tried to check this out with my cell phone. So we do have a cam, and let's see if we can get eyes on it right now. Yeah, we do have some eyes on it. So this is this is one of those conglomerate views, If we can duplicate that and just focus on, the single view, however you do that. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot that button right there. Is this one? I want to get to the one where we can do time lapses of the individual ones. So let's do a 6-hour time lapse. Whoa. Yeah, that starts cooking up good. Wow. It's not every day the camera just sort of shows you what goes on from start to finish. Dang. Okay. So let's do a different hour time lapse. Let's do a 12. Whoa. Yeah. You can see red retardant splashes on landscape. I love that we can, oops, not during the time lapse, but we can zoom in now, even though we pause it. It's such an improvement over the old website. Hope Oregon and Washington gets this improvement too. Oh, look at this dead landscape. Thank you, car fire. See, the forests don't always grow back, guys. Don't think it always look like this. Don't think it's supposed to look like this. Car fire and some others been just insane-o. Oops. Okay, it's malfunctioning, but I thought we could zoom in. Woo. So let's see what Watch Duty has to say about this one. Responding to a veggie fire 2 miles north of the town of French Gulch, which has already been traumatized, I believe, by the car fire. We are all fearing a car fire 2.0. Now, the car fire, CARR fire, near the Shasta district, was one of the worst the region has ever seen, and it spawned fire tornadoes that actually ran through a neighborhood and killed a grandmother and a granddaughter right in front of the eyes of the grandfather. I mean, that was the first time a human being has witnessed a fire tornado destroy a house, people inside of it. And then it just rampaged, just absolutely rampaged through Northern California over a great deal of distance in Shasta. This was before Paradise and everything happened. It's just, it was extremely shocking. For the region, and the region still bears gigantic scars. It just destroyed many, many historic ghost towns, many, many ranches, a lot of history. Like historical museums, we're left with the choice, like Whiskey Town Lake Museum and such. Just what can you pack up in 5 minutes and save, and then get out? So we lost a lot of California Gold Rush history type stuff. We almost lost the entire ghost town of Shasta, like wooden buildings that survived throughout the entire gold rush, 1849 to now. Got it in an instant, couldn't save it in the modern era, it just moved too fast. We go to shaded relief. We go to Google imagery. These are different layers. We go to fire history. See 2018 car fire here, right? Gigantic. This giant thing. Oh. No, that's part. Oh, the Zog grew into it. So the lower part is the Zog. Thank you, PG&E. So 2018's car fire was actually started by an actual vehicle. That's an ironic name, but I think it was CARR Road that gave it its name. So yeah, here's French Gulch, already traumatized by the car fire, and have to read the word French Gulch for today's activity. This is the car fire burn scar confirmed, and there's a lot of dead trees on the landscape that we should be really, really frightened of them taking off. There's now enough brush and such growing up at the base of these dead trees all over the landscape to have a fire worse than the car fire. So the first wildfire is not the bad one, as devastating and crazy as it is. It burns off the limbs of trees, the sticks. The trunks don't burn because they're full of water. But give it 3 to 5 years, and in this case, yeah, that was 2018. They're bone dry, and this time with a bunch of dry brush at the base, a new fire that takes off in high winds and dry conditions will be worse than the first because you're going to have the trunks on fire this time. That's a much bigger fuel. Way different between feeding a few sticks into a campfire and getting out your marshmallows versus I'm going to light this tree on fire, right? Can you imagine? So I imagine they pounced on that like was sort of a facial tick, sort of a twitchy, oh God, we can't let this happen kind of um, seriousness, right? So I can't wait to talk to JB about this. John Bruno, the retired fire chief of the region. So, and yeah, these other keywords, Fawn Ridge Drive, remember the Fawn fire? This area is traumatized, and I'm glad that I can't read that. Somebody upload. Oh, there we go. Okay. What was this, 5 p.m. yesterday? Said there was 3 helicopters, 8 tenders, 16 engines, 6 hands crews, 4 dozers, and 6 tankers on it. Total 175 people jumped on this. They have a 20 acreage in size at 5 p.m. Please scroll down, okay. When the crews arrived, there was 5 acres of brush and timber burning at moderate rate of spread with no threat to structures. 1800, the fires approximately 20 acres of brush and timber, 0% containment. Fires burning in steep terrain, making access difficult. Multiple resources and agencies at the scene. Evacuation orders effect for homes on Fawn Ridge Drive. So, no road closures though. So we got current eyes on that one. On the McCabe Ridge one. So this is our current look at it. Let's just do a 15-minute. Okay, so looks not too bad. So I'm hoping, unless there's some like high crazy winds tomorrow, they got a handle on that. I mean, that is a really good crew down there. They really do pounce and do a good job. My voice is still very sore, so I'm gonna just not talk about that one. That's the Ridge Fire in Shasta County, California. We already looked at the Flat Fire. Right now, I want to see if there's any aircraft giving us any infrared. They may already be done for the night. It's 2 in the morning, but just every once in a while you see something interesting like fire hawks and stuff at night. And sometimes my filter of aircraft below 12,000 feet sometimes won't even catch, high flying infrared, scouting type planes. There's a helicopter near Chester. How cute is that? Took off from Susanville. Oh, it's a life flight. Oh, hope that person is okay. They may not. Huh. They may have just picked up their victim at Chester and maybe life flighting them to some other hospital. I can't think about what hospital they might be headed towards that direction. I can only think of Quincy having one since, well, Greenville burned down. It had a clinic, but not a hospital. Or maybe on its way to Vegas. Who knows? Reno? Could be on its way to Reno. But praying for that person. Okay. So looking back at watch duty. Hey, Big Al, how you doing? I had a relative have a heart attack today. I was not here. So it was kind of like hang out, mom, wait by the phone, and call a million people kind of a day. But good to see you here. Bedrock is one I've been wondering about. Like today, we're there. Oh, no publicly available infrared flight conducted tonight due to the weather. Okay, that answers our question. Video unavailable, no longer exists, or I don't have permission to view it. As an operational briefing video. Air resource advisory video.
Forecast for today, we've got some changing.
Okay, let's watch that together, friends. Full screen. I guess we have to go to Facebook to full screen this. This will save my voice.
For the Bedrock fire, and just bringing the forecast for today, we've got some changing conditions.
Why is it that soft? Good
morning, I'm Greg Mortensen, the Air Resource Advisor trainee for the Bedrock fire, and just bringing the forecast for today, we've got some changing conditions as winds shift a little bit. They were going from the northwest, but now they're kind of taking a more southerly.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think that's loud enough. I gotta do some tricks here. I hopefully remember to change the volume boost so the next thing we watch is gonna blast you. Right click. How do I do this again? Properties. God, it is cranked to the max. What else can I do for desktop audio then? Yeah, how did I do this in the past? Double click it? I guess it's properties. Oh, manually go past 99%. All right, 200%. Well, that went to 20. This is irritating. Yeah, it ain't let me go past 100%. I'm sorry, friends. It's about as loud as it can be, and I can't do anything about that right now.
Good morning, I'm Greg Mortensen, the Air Resource Advisor trainee for the Bedrock fire, and just bringing the forecast for today, we've got some changing conditions as winds shift a little bit. They were going from the northwest, but now they're kind of taking a more southerly track. So what we're going to see is good air quality, particularly up north in northern parts of the fire area, such as Detroit Lake, Madras, Sisters, McKenzie, Prineville. All those should experience good air quality and continue to see that through Saturday. Where things get a little interesting is down in Lapine and Oak Ridge. In Lapine, you're actually going to see some improvements as that smoke moves again more to the east because of that southerly flow. And so you should see some good conditions, some better conditions this morning and particularly this evening. As things change again, however, we're going to see a northwest flow come back in. And so tomorrow you'll start off fairly good. You'll still have some impacts and be in the moderate category. and then kind of progress back to that pattern you've been used to of seeing some smoke coming in the evenings and particularly overnight, and see some unhealthy for sensitive groups conditions. For Oak Ridge, a little bit different story. You're going to see some more impacts today as that smoke, that southerly draw of air brings the smoke in. You'll still see some decent air this morning and good to moderate, and then it'll start to kind of decline as the day progresses, where in the afternoon we may see some unhealthy for sensitive groups air. And as well as tomorrow, we'll see that kind of linger into the morning, where it may go into periods of unhealthy air in the morning and into the afternoon slightly, before again returning to your pattern of clearing out. And by evening and night, overnight, we're expecting things to clear out and be good air quality again. That'll be tomorrow. And finally, just to brush on Eugene, you should remain in good air quality. There may be a little bit of smoke that comes through, and you may push in the moderate tomorrow, but overall good for Eugene as well. Thanks, and have a great day.
Okay, friends, first gotta back that down on the sound. What in the world does Facebook think I want to see? Look at the dead trees on the landscape. This is why this is a hard one. Yeah, I turned off the webcam because you know what? I don't want to block videos, especially if you can barely see my face. And I'm now sitting in a different spot on my chair to rest one half of my backside, so I'm out of frame in it. But when I shift my weight again, maybe I'll turn that back on. This was their in general briefing. So they said current predicted weather conditions may allow for the rapid growth. Well, I was hoping that they would kind of tell us that with an evening update, because this is, well, did we get an evening update? It doesn't look like it. Not on this Facebook page. So yeah, it was windy last night and there was some lightning. So like I was warning people the other day, you could do all the good work in the world, working on containing your fire, but August is lightning month. Just to have a bunch of lightning come by and just put it all over the place, you have to stop what you're doing, scramble, and go put out those little things so that you can go back to the main show. So tomorrow morning, or it's later today, we would hopefully get a good morning update. They'll actually tell us what happened tonight with it. Now, I think we still have a view of the Bedrock fire. We got Oregon, Idaho, Washington. The way to do this is sort of just make the map area bigger. Oh my gosh, I love this new VPN, guys. It's been smooth, hasn't it? So everything looking east of Eugene might have it in sight. That's west of Eugene city lights, though. So this one's looking the wrong way. That's right, Death Ball Mountain. And it's in rotation. The one that freaked us out last year, because it was a fire in this general region, was Death Ball Mountain. Cam had it. I think it was the last one I covered. Yeah, this is in rotation. Let's just see if it rotates around. This is live. Look at that low-lying, foggy, dewy, smoky stuff. Yeah, with all the dead trees and landscape. Death Ball Mountain. Can't make this up. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't resize this. I was gonna watch something else that was a video, but it's really irrelevant because it's so old. I'm sorry, friend. Do tell me when the window's messed up. Well, can't see much of it. All right. I'm going to declare this good, because if that is smoke, sometimes smoke is like, how to keep food warm. Those little lids that the butler takes off to serve the breakfast in bed, the thing that keeps your food warm. It's like a big bell thing. What are those things called? It's a lid on it, and it kind of keeps it in a smothered state. It kind of deprives it of fresh air. So if you check your email, there's some great news for you there. Awesome, Big Al. I can't wait to. Yeah, I am feeling a little bit better. My throat's still messed up, but a family member had a heart attack today, so I wasn't on earlier. But so far, so good, knock on wood, is that status. I took the time to buy a new VPN so far. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm delighted. So anyway, when you see stuff like this dewy, foggy kind of a layer thing, that's generally good for fires at night, because you want a lid to be on them. It's just doesn't put it out, but it makes it dampens down its activity. Now during the day, you want that stuff to move off. You want just the right amount of wind, just enough wind to kind of push the smoke off so that they can see it and they can get aircraft on it, but not enough wind to really fan the flames. You want that sweet spot. So that's the Death Ball Mountain Cam. That's the one that's rotating around there, and it's looking through the McKenzie River paths, basically. This Smith Ridge Lane is also a rotator. Is that Sisters? I think that's Sisters. Bunch of volcanoes called the Sisters. I think they're technically active. They're not being active right now, but like technically one or two could erupt. Thanks for the prayers, Reverend. Thanks for the prayers, Reverend. I just realized I said that. That's pretty cool. Okay. It's been quite emotional. I've been in tears today. I've been laughing today. I mean, it was good to see Mom again. I haven't seen her for a long time. But then Mom's like, but this happened, and oh my God. So, there's more I can't talk about it, but just all you can do is pray sometimes. Now, that glowy cloud thing could just be a cloud, or it could be glowing because it has heat underneath it. The heat or the light of the fire underneath it, but I can't even tell. So sometimes the way that it's pivoting, its direction is accurate. Sometimes it's behind it. So like, don't rely on this. They'll be like, oh, it's looking this direction, so it's definitely the fire. That got me in trouble a long time ago in the Dixie fire when I first. That actually does look like it's east. That does look like the Sisters. I mean, just knowing what I know about the landscape, but well, it got me in trouble when I first covered the Dixie because I assumed that it was correct. The brand new ones that had the color infrared thing and the moving picture cam, the moving movie and not just stills. I got discombobulated and thought that different areas were on fire because the stupid rotational thing was behind where the camera actually was. Okay, so we don't really have eyes on the Bedrock fire right now. Oregon, please put more cams on the landscape. Thank you. I'm sure they'll get right on it. I mean, Oregon should have been super traumatized by 2020. We almost lost like all of the major population of centers of Oregon, like on the same night. If the wind didn't change, we would have lost chunks of Eugene, Salem, southeast Portland, Medford. We did lose the two towns south of Medford, Talent and Phoenix. So Oregon, get off your ass. Put some cams on the landscape. There was the crazy burnover of one of the cams actually. that the Beachy Creek fire did. Have you guys seen that on real video? I during 2020 I showed it a lot. So oh my God, somebody's live, Beachy Creek, yeah, burn over. The ferocity of that fire. Yeah, the Halls Ridge Tower Cam. Thanks, Oregonian, for the watermark, but in reality, this is copyright free because it's from ODOT. So this is 2020's Beachy Creek. The 75 plus mile an hour winds, hot, dry winds came from the desert on Red Monday, or Tuesday technically. Well, Red Monday was Labor Day Monday, the day the firestorm began. This poor little cam is gonna look around until it can't look around no more. Until its eyes melt. Living trees torching as if they're dead. 2020 was something else. Sorry, seizure warning. I should have said that because the camera will glitch out as the heat begins to affect it. Flashes are the camera trying to handle the intense light, and the sensor of the camera cannot handle it. And that's all the embers. That's when the wind blows on you, those things are burning you, getting in your eyes. It's hell to be in a wildfire. Look, it turned its back. Look what's behind it already. You could put some sort of Darth Vader music to this or something eerie, but there's nothing more eerie than the silence. At this point in time, the plastic is melting in front of the cam. It's in a bubble. This would be insane colorized. The fire's lapping at it from the outside. And the plastic melts down and the camera is no more. So, yeah, this can tell you a hell of a lot about what's going on. You show that kind of stuff to civilians and say that's coming, and they evacuate. If you could see that that's what's happening upwind, one screenshot of that kind of thing, or just show somebody for 3 seconds, they will pack their car, they will leave. The most dire holdout of the holdouts will pack up and leave. So that's similar terrain. The Beachy Creek was what was east of Salem and Staten. What was ironic is the last video we watched about the air quality alert for Detroit Lake because of this fire. I almost wanted to butt in and say, well, what's left of Detroit Lake? Detroit Lake burned to the ground, and the Beachy Creek, the one that we just saw there. Not that it was ever a big city. 70 people got trapped on the dock and requested helicopter evacuation from the National Guard, and the National Guard said, no, sorry, can't get in there. Run for your lives, essentially, or whatever they said. I would like to hope they said, stay on the dock, please. That would have been my advice. You're safe on the dock. Stay right there. But they actually got in a vehicle and made it to Mount Hood or something, which was extremely risky. Don't leave a place of safety for a road that might be blocked, is what I always say, but they made it, and I'm glad for them. So the Bedrock fire is in the burn scar of a couple others, like the Gates Middle Fork Complex. Complex means different wildfires grew together into a bigger one. So while you might have heard about the original fire, they kind of seemingly randomly rename it once it's a complex. So, you know, it may be something I'm familiar with, but they renamed it. But here's the big holiday farm fire burn scar. And if there's been much growth, much brush regrowth in that area, I mean, that's bad news bears there. At least, though, they would have probably some somewhat fresh fire lines to attend to. And now that the fire's been burning for days, I'm sure they're sprucing them up. Oh, partial window again. Thank you. I'm so sorry. You see, this is why I need a cockpit solution of 3 monitors. I'm still working on that, friend. So one little bit at a time. My voice is failing again, so let's just push through these. What I wanted to figure out is what the hell happened today. With the lightning and such. Grossman Fire in Wildwood County, 153 acres. That's 4 days ago, so nothing. There's been no new news on that. These little lightning strike fires, for the most part, are on no notification status unless I turn that on because they were in general tiny. Now the protocol is to investigate usually by helicopter every reported smoke, either by camera, fire lookouts like the ones in the towers. There's still a couple of those out there in the west, reported by civilians, pilots. They go out with Bambi buckets and they'll douse until the smoke's gone, and or try to get people to rappel down in there and check it out. Nighttime infrared is what I was hoping for, but looks like nighttime infrared was canceled due to the weather. Hey, blistering, how are you doing? We had an exciting lightning day with fires in the west. So this thing here was interesting. Priceboro fire. They've got level 3 go evacuations. 4 hours ago was our last update. But I want to scroll to the bottom. I was monitoring this on my phone a little bit, but like I said, the whole family member having a heart attack thing meant that I couldn't really go live. So this is where the farmland starts reaching the hills of the Cascades. So it's a very bad place to be. You don't want it to get up higher. Priceboro. I don't even remember any I-5 exits called Priceboro. Something north of Eugene. It's not. I-5 goes through kind of a desolate land here because almost all of Oregon's big cities were settled on the Willamette River. And that's it going that way to the northwest, where I-5 just goes due north. So places like Priceboro, cute name. But this is out in the most part, the crops out here, once you leave, right down there, it's one of the seed grass capitals of the world, basically. But once you leave the cereal grain area, flatlands, almost immediately you get to the Christmas tree farms. That's typically what this stuff is on the hills. You either grow wine or Christmas trees. And Oregon is one of those places where like rich people grow Christmas trees just to get insane tax breaks because it's a loophole. You technically are a nursery owner at that point if you plant Christmas trees, even though you're not. But you get that tax break and you get all kinds of agricultural low interest loans and stuff, and kind of scam you kind of game the government. So Christmas tree farms on fire are bad enough. You just don't want to get further up into the hills and mountains, and you get to the really thick forest. So it looks like they went to level 2 evacuations later because it took off 10 hours ago, which was around 5 p.m. Air attack was overhead, reporting structures threatened within a quarter mile of the fire with multiple spot fires. They must have had some good wind. You could see that the wind's pushing the column a little bit at this point yesterday. They upgraded evacuations to level 3. What is their map? There's not that many people live over there. Aircraft departed for the night. God, somebody has a nice nighttime capable camera. I mean, these days an iPhone can do that, but that's gorgeous. I mean, may not just be iPhone, like my Pixel took some gorgeous stuff like that, but it's likely on a tripod or somebody steadied the camera on maybe the pickup truck top, and then they did night mode, time lapse basically. You get these colors in the night. Wow, this person knows how to take a picture. Okay, how are you, barnacles? Have you caught anything lately with your magnets? Uh, hey, Think Chair. Hey, how's Southern California been? The Priceboro Fire, Wildwood Estates. Okay, so there is a neighborhood. Sounds like a new one. At 3:14 p.m., a brush fire broke out in Priceboro Drive east of Harrisburg, pretty far east of Harrisburg, and quickly moved southeast towards the community on Mount Tom Drive. Harrisburg Fire Department and ODF immediately responded and are jointly leading firefighting ops. They are being assisted by other departments. Lynn and Lane County. ODF quickly ordered and received air assets. That's good. All of the personnel are aggressively attacking to get it contained. And they put the level 3 go now evacs on drive. 60 homes now have been approximately evacuated. According to ODF South Cascade, the fire is approximately 200 acres. It's not reached any residences. They're aggressively attacking it. At time, the cause of the fire is unknown. That's the map. So let's see if we can get eyes on it and see what kind of wind conditions are down there. This says this is a traffic cam. No, that's not traffic cam. That means this is the source of their image there. So that's due north of Eugene and due east of Junction City. All right, so let's take a look. This one should be looking at it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Does it rotate though? Hope it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay, yeah, this one's looking right at it. Buck Mountain. This thing sees a lot of fires. Now what we want to see, friends, is it staying within its lane. Do a 6-hour lapse. So they would have splashed retardant all over the hillside to try to keep it from climbing. You don't want it climbing. You don't want it getting in the mountains and the thicker brush. Now, awesome. That's awesome. It was an east wind. Look, the wind's pushing it away from the mountain. That's so freaking fortunate. Fire can still climb uphill against wind because, yeah, it's upwind. It's uphill. Fire can almost always climb. This is a stroke of fortune here. That wind direction. And it stays steady that way. When you have steady wind direction like that, you've got an opportunity to get further, like in this case, east is the right side of the screen, and then light the landscape on fire. The fire will just join itself, and if the wind ever goes the opposite direction, you've already burned it out ahead of itself. I don't know if they utilized any of that or they just decided retardant would be the way to go. But that gives them lots of options. Okay, let's do a further time lapse of earlier in the day. This is luck. Yeah, it was rotating and then it found it. Now there was not even a breeze in Portland today. In fact, they had a fireworks show that freaked me out. They had some sort of a concert or something. Okay, at some point it was a north wind blowing south. And at the start of it, it was a north wind blowing south. Because we're looking to the northwest. But then it changed to be pretty much an east wind. Look at that. It went, sorry, Sorry, we were trying to spread south. I apologize. We'll just blow back on ourselves now. That was astonishingly good luck. Now, everybody getting smoked out to the west didn't think so, and all the neighborhood to the west probably they bit their fingernails off today. If they saved homes, then that's a freaking miracle. It looks like they did. I think Cheris has not much wind last year. Yeah, down south in Southern California. I believe Santa Ana's will come back with a vengeance in a few months. Quite concerned. I am too. It is El Nino. We got lucky, honestly, the last couple of years without any massive Diablo Santa Ana wind events. I mean, the people who did experience the similar kind of wind event for the bear fire, that was freaking awful, and that was there is an aphid on my piece of paper, excuse me. I mean, that was deadly. Brush and Berry Creek got taken out. I believe that was in 2021. But I mean, what I'm saying is, though, we got really lucky with not having, we could have had more. Maybe La Nina had something to do with keeping them pinned down. But yeah, everybody lives in fear of the Santa Anas and Diablo winds up in the North Santa Anas in Southern California. So this is our current view. And so, like I said, what we want to see is it staying within its lane, and it is. It's very active, but it's not moving. There goes I-5. That's the traffic of I-5. I-5's moving around. I bet that's an eerie red glow out the window. People are cruising by and putting it on TikTok. Yeah, I would imagine this was some sort of yard work kind of fire, just guessing, being that it was so close to homes and such. That's my random guess. I mean, we did have a lot of lightning come through here, but you could tell where lightning has struck for the most part due to today's, meteorology and almost live. You can kind of see where it struck. So they would have said so. I would imagine yard work kind of stuff or an accident. You know, I thought the campfire was out, but it's not really in campground kind of territory. It's in suburban neighborhood kind of territory. But good job keeping it out of the mountains, guys. Good job. So that could have been bad today. This Priceboro one. Berry fire. 9 hours ago. Clackamas County reported a fire. That's it. Okay. Let's check the news. Let's check Coin. Coin has got a wildfire section. That's great. Yeah, level 3 evacuations for Priceboro fire near Harrisburg. It's closer to Junction City, but nobody's ever heard of it. So, level 3 go nows. Yep, Oregon Vineyards sue Pacific Corp over the 2020 wildfire damage. That's new. Yeah, because the smoke from it ruined their crop and made it too toxic to drink, I bet. I bet they couldn't even really harvest. You can't have your wine grape harvesters out there in unbreathable air. The Beach Creek fire that Pacific Corp has now been found guilty of helping to start by not de-energizing their power lines, just letting them fall down and light new fire after new fire after new fire, making the Beachy Creek spread extremely fast to the west. Like they saw crazy surges and stuff going on and claimed, well, nobody was awake at the time who could have authorized us to shut off the power. Whatever. What about the millions of 911 calls where everybody's saying, oh God, the power lines are falling down and they are lighting everything on fire, including my house right now. Please shut it off. Like, that's just a pathetic excuse. They also tried to cover up things and destroyed evidence, so the jury was not too sympathetic to their But we're innocent. BS. You were previously deemed negligent in the wildfires due to the company's failure to cut down power lines, cut not down power lines, to cut the power of the lines during the windstorm. And in June of this, I just showed you how fierce that wind was. Like, we're talking about this. They let the power stay on when this was occurring. 75 plus mile an hour winds that gusted to like 125. They let the power stay on. What kind of a moron says it'll be fine? The 911 operators were calling them like, Jesus. This was happening. And people were fleeing for their lives by the hundreds, and some didn't make it. It's like, oh my God. The only incentive power companies have to keep the power on at times. Okay, friends, I feel like I'm going to scream. See what I mean? See this wind gust and what it just did? I'm telling you. This one, they kept the power on. I'm so angry. My headset shut it off in the middle of me talking here. It's doing the same thing that the Bang & Olufsen set did. Now, my JBL Quantum 800s never did this. I just bought the upgrade, the 810s, thinking it had a little bit of a better microphone, and the 800s died. And now, if there's nothing coming through the headset, and sometimes even if there is, like something coming into the ear cups, it turns itself off. That's the reason I hate the Bang & Olufsen's. Like, I want my damn money back. I'm pissed. I'm sorry, friends, but in the middle of talking, it just decides to cut itself off because it's going to go into power saving mode. It's not acceptable. So let's see. The current headline is now the winemakers of Willamette Valley are suing. So yeah, it affected the grape harvest. This is a major deal. This is like one of Oregon's big export crops, and Oregon is still an agricultural state. Yeah, it's got Intel and Nike. That's about it, though. For technology, Tektronix and Sun are not what they used to be. It's an ag state and screwed up like the second most, what do you call that, cash crop in the state. Yeah, that messed up the entire state budget, I can tell you. Winemakers have expanded to several tasting rooms across the West Coast since launching in 1983. The smoke and soot from the wildfires damaged property located in the Turner area. Yeah, I mean, it screws it up. What it does is it peppers all over the landscape toxic fallout, and you have to wash it off of everything, every square inch of every building. It's cancer causing. I don't even want to know. I don't even want to think of how polluted the soil is. I don't want to get sued here, but I would want to sample and test and make sure it's safe to drink Oregon wine from 2020 and California. Like, the wildfires were that bad. I'm not saying it's unsafe, but yeah, it was bad. I don't drink alcohol anyway. I mean, alcohol itself is unsafe, so that's a moot point, but, nobody wants to drink chemicals. Pacific Corp was previously deemed negligent in the wildfires due to the company's failure to cut the power during the windstorm beforehand and during it. And when in June of this year, Multnomah County jury awarded them $90 million to 17 victims of the incident that ended in 9 deaths and 1,875 square miles of devastated land, including the very last, basically pristine old growth of the Cascades. Gone. Pacific Corps could owe more to others who are eligible for punitive damages, and I'm 100% behind this. This was their screw up. Look, it's not like PG&E has been doing this for years, destroying gigantic swathes of California and getting their asses sued off. So they can't claim that, oh yeah, we're the state next door, but we didn't even know that power safety shutoffs should happen, and that saves lives and saves the landscape. Yeah, you knew. The only reason to keep power on during such a crazy storm is you can't bill people for power if you turn it off. It's just greed. Stupidity/greed. I don't care. Both are bad, and corporations don't learn. They don't have a heart. They learn through pain of the wallet. That's it. Or, PG&E that keeps getting bailed out by the government and other things and lawmakers. They don't learn, and they keep doing it. They keep repeating their behavior. So hopefully Pacific Corps will at least learn. And this isn't the first time. I think Pacific Corps was also indicted or something, or under suspicion for that crazy McKinney fire. I think that was Pacific Corps. That was deadly too. Let me make sure I've got my stuff right here. Either Pacific Power, Pacific Corps. Oh, I'm looking for, like a wiki on it. Which power company was suspected? They made it a crime scene. Yeah, Pacific Power, a business unit of Pacific Corps. Yeah, so not only did in 2020 they contribute to the explosive growth and pretty much single-handedly made the Beachy Creek completely out of control, like without a way to stop it. And not only did they single-handedly, spread it to the west like at lightning fast speed by having all their power lines pretty much start falling on the only escape route that people like Detroit Lake had, trapping them there. Not only did they do that in 2020, but here's the McKinney fire later. Wasn't this is 2022, right? Yeah, 2022. They're still keeping the power on during windstorms. And they totally screwed up. What was the fire crews going in to evacuate the town and save it? So where there was no fire, where they were going to assemble, the place where the fire crew said, let's assemble, all of a sudden they said, everybody run for your life because there's fire there too. Like, they nearly trapped fire crews and got them killed. So the cause of the McKinney fire at this point is officially unknown. Whatever. According to radio dispatches, a fire began beneath the 12,000-volt Scott Bar distribution power line owned and operated by the electric utility Pacific Power, a business unit of Pacific Corp. The line had lost power approximately 9 p.m. the night before the fire. Service had been restored at 5 a.m. on the morning of the day it started. The utility claimed it had patrolled the entire line, but unable to determine the outage's cause. Residents of Klamath River speculated whether work on the power line in the neighborhood was the cause, sharing images of the area taped off. The utility stated on August 5th, 2022, it was not aware of any of its equipment being seized in relation to it. Yeah. On August 8th, Pacific Corps and the Forest Service both commented, noting that McKinney Fire's cause was under investigation by CAL FIRE, and neither party had been granted access to the ignition area as a result. And as of August 7th, CAL FIRE had declined to comment on the investigation. So God knows when they'll get around to finding the cause, right? Aren't we still waiting on the mosquito as well, or was PG&E already convicted? I can't even remember anymore. But there was lightning that night and a storm, and they just left the power lines on. I assumed it was lightning when I was covering this live. Officials were McKinney fire was first reported after July 29, 2022. Officials were unsure of the cause, but did not believe it was started by a lightning strike. I did. I thought it was. I mean, lightning was going all over the area, so I jumped the gun and assumed. And I even told people, I think it's just lightning, guys. Because, there's the usuals ran in and said, oh, it's got to be arson, or it's got to be this or this or this. But since there were other fires started in the vicinity and lightning was popping off all over it, I just assumed lightning. Then later when I heard it was a crime scene, I went, oh God, I screwed up. Yeah, assumption is the mother of all beep up, right? But then again, it is criminal to not turn off your damn power lines when they're ready to fall over in fierce storms. This community lost some lives, and they lost a lot of structures and a lot of history, and I don't know how well they've recovered, honestly. I remember them talking about the community hall being on fire. The wildland firefighters saw it, but they couldn't do anything because they don't know how to fight a structure fire. And power lines down and energized kept fire crews from responding. I remember that part. I can rewind my channel to verify, but I distinctly remember stuff like that. So when does this occur? The dry thunderstorms of late July. Late July and all of August is lightning season. So anyway, my point was with Pacific Power, they already knew 2 years prior that they had killed people and cut off the avenue of escape for more than 100 people who just by luck and the skin of their teeth managed to survive the Beachy Creek. So they can't claim ignorance about the need to turn off their power lines during some event like what happened with the McKinney. So I mean, I'm not a gambler, but I would put my entire life savings and go all in on it being power line related to McKinney, but that's just me. I've seen this before. But there always seems to be this gigantic delay of several years in fully investigating power line fires, and I've always been suspicious of that. Maybe because that's when a bunch of statute of limitations expire, like the Bobcat fire. Man, it was so many years later that they came out with their report. It was so silent and so quiet so many years later. All right. So in California, the only thing technically to be concerned about right now is that ridge fire. We already checked it out. That's fire news. Yeah, here's that lawsuit, the Willamette Valley Vineyards. They'll never pay for the damage they really caused. They've now started to link dementia to the inhalation of wildfire smoke and the very, very fine particulate matters. I was watching a couple of streams, like little shorts on YouTube, where actual scientists are explaining what's in wildfire smoke and why does it smell like burning plastic. Because some of the same compounds are in wildfire smoke, even though it's burning wood products, Benzene and formaldehyde, he claimed, are the products of wildfire smoke. That's some of the biggest cancer-causing beep known to man. Nobody wants to have furniture that emits formaldehyde and stuff. It was a scandal after Hurricane Katrina when they rushed to build a bunch of trailers for people to live in, and they got drywall from China and they used formaldehyde in it. It's been banned forever in United States construction because it emits vapors that cause cancer. Gives you lung cancer and such. So now that we know that it's got a role to play in dementia, like the entire country breathing in the wildfire smoke from 2020 and beyond, mostly from PG&E's fault, we'll never be able to quantify how much that's going to cost the country in not just dollars and healthcare, but ruining lives and families. Having grandmother wander off, or your mom wander off and drown, or just drive and be found months later because they got lost because of dementia. Like, just in your own life, perhaps even being ruined because you inhaled so much wildfire smoke that you can never quantify the true cost. And it's so sad about the Golden Fire. I thought I was going to say something a little bit more than this, but dozens of homes destroyed by it. What is the containment of the Golden Fire? 4 days ago was its final update. Wow. Today, crews worked on last-minute touch-ups to prepare for demobilization, with fire containment reaching 83%. I'm confident we can continue the great work that's been put in, states the incoming incident management type 14 map Ansbach. Maybe he's German. The weather for tomorrow will be hot and dry. It's 4 days ago. Blah, blah, blah. So, I do want to check this out on InstaWeb. What is the current containment of the Golden Fire? Let's go to InstaWeb. Still saying it's 83%. Cause undetermined. Weather concerns moderate temperature and wind for the next 2 days. This is blinding me. Moderate temp and wind for the next 2 days. Low relative humidity still persists, and local indices remain near extreme. Thunderstorms are still forecast for Thursday through Saturday. I'm a little bit concerned that they may have turned their back on this fire, like turning their back on the ocean. The amount of lightning that's ripping through here. It said planned actions, and is this current? Like, I hope this is actually current as of today. It says current as of 8:03. It's not current. The 72 hours diminishing chance of thunderstorms approaching with moisture. Yeah. Hey, Big Al says we've had some heavy occasions of wildfire smoke here this summer from the BC fires. It smells like burning plastic. Yeah. Maybe I can just show you what I saw. Why? Maybe it's like a short or something here. We can just see. Why does wildfire smoke smell like plastic? This guy.
This is so interesting and also such a bummer. Like, you'd think that if there's a big wildfire that at least it would smell like a campfire. It's just trees burning. And where I live, usually that's the smell that we get because I'm quite close to the fires because it's Montana and the forest is just right there. But what happens with a really big fire is the stuff that's like kind of far away is that the stuff that's more like particles from the actual wood rather than like individual molecules. Those particles, which are big, they settle out faster. You lose them, and what you get left behind is just the lightest things, which is these volatile organic compounds like formaldehyde and benzene. Those we usually only smell in the context of like burning rubber. And also, they're bad for you. Like, if it smells like that, try to not be outside very much because both of those things are carcinogens. Those molecules are always in wildfire smoke, but they get separated out by time and by space. This is so interesting and also such a bummer. Like,
Shorts have a tendency to repeat like that. I'm sorry, that is maximum volume. Just some YouTube videos and things uploaded are not as loud as others, and I thought that maybe YouTube would fix that probably on day 2 when Google bought YouTube. Like, that's the most no shit, excuse my language, but no duh thing that it's really irritating. Like when you look at the TV and you turn the channels and there's different volumes, you have to up the volume, down the volume, up the volume, down the volume. One channel, everybody's screaming and yelling, and one, it's all whispers, right? Well, most television manufacturers decided to equal it out, even though the broadcasters didn't. So why in God's name, YouTube, does the volume vary between videos? Just normalize it. What's wrong with you? You would think they just want the viewer to not be terribly annoyed, but this has been like this for decades now. It's a stupid thing. It has made my job so damn difficult. Like behind the scenes, I'm pulling levers and sliding things to try to make things the same volume for you. But that is called Hank's channel, and I'm gonna link this short here, and I'm gonna sub. Dude's a man, just explaining good, in a good, understandable fashion there what's going on. So, right now, I think we've done a good wildfire roundup. We're coming up on an hour and 45 minutes. I really have got to rest my throat. So, pray for Canada as usual. Dang, it looks like something big happened in Idaho. Elkhorn. I mean, that's been going though. It's lightning strike season. It's lightning season. Now, my own status is I'm working extremely hard behind the scenes to wrap up a lawsuit that I really need to win. So I'm very sorry about that, but like court appearances and stuff, I cannot reschedule. Doctors, I have a million doctor's appointments in between. When I'm not doing that, I'm actually trying to do some actual renovations to this room so I can get a different desk set up in here with 3 monitors so that I don't fail to notice chat, and I don't fail to notice that I'm resizing the windows wrong. It'll be more acoustically, way more better. Acoustically improved here, excuse me. Okay, my throat is collapsing. I've got to stop talking. I do have a new VPN. I'm very satisfied with the results. Now that I've got good upload speed with a VPN, we're getting closer to 4K broadcast. That is coming down the pipe. My hardware can handle it, but can the VPN and other couple factors. Can I run 4K? Do I have enough hard drives to actually capture my own stream? To archive it that much. I mean, I would have to have a whole new set of hard drives. We're talking 16 terabyte hard drives to archive my 4K streams that oftentimes go 20 hours at a time. That's a huge amount of storage. But hey, we'll catch that bridge when we cross it. It's baby steps. We're in 1080p right now. We're going to go to 1440, then we're going to go to 4K, baby. Hey, and November 6th, Golf Mike Lima. Good morning. I was just signing off. I'm sorry. I've been on pins and needles. A relative had a heart attack, so that's why I wasn't here throughout the day. Do you have any questions or anything about wildfire before I sign off? So sorry, mate. I can barely talk. My throat is ragged still from being sick. We've got eyeballs on this one. It's still going. This is the one by Eugene. No, not well. I mean, there's a couple by Eugene. This is the specifically the what I call this one, Price Bureau. Yeah, you got 10 seconds to type. Sorry. Yeah, cheers, get some rest. Yeah, sorry, mate, about this. I wanted to catch up on the fires myself, so I'd be spending this time anyway looking at this stuff. I'm going to check the weather one last time. So let me show you my radar. It's kind of weird that stuff, a lightning storm's moving past Walla Walla right now towards Yakima and making its way towards Olympia eventually. It's an unusual way for a storm to be traveling, to go from east to west. That's just weird. So right now, my biggest concern is for Washington. You see where it says H, over here, like high pressure H, H. I'll draw this, in case you can't see it, it's kind of small. Well, H means high pressure, means a shield, which means storms bounce off it and go somewhere else. Like this thing down here is just going to go that way. If this thing wanted to go that way, it can't. It's going that way. Now, lows suck in storms and moisture and stuff. Lows will suck in everything, and that's like hurricanes and stuff. They'll start rotating. Those are lows. Big storms at sea, those are lows. See the L's, the lows. They rotate and suck, right? Yeah, there's some big thing in the Bering Sea like that. That thing is a big low pressure thing. Barometer drops and seafarers start shaking. But this thing out here in the Pacific that's high, the big shield, it's a big shield, stuff's going to bounce off of it. So that means anything coming from the south go that way or that way. I know almost nothing about weather, but that helps people, So, all right. Okay, we're gonna take that off of view here now. Yeah, I do have to rest my voice. Going to try to get some sleep. And try to win this. What am I gonna try? No, I'm gonna win this, dang it. Get back to business. This is taking up way too much of my precious time. But I'm a meticulous, detail-oriented person who keeps meticulous records of everything, so that means I'm going to win. You do not want to pick a fight with me. I'm about the most prepared person in the world for something like that. The other side is pretty much the only way that they can win is if their lie about me being unprepared floats. But boy, is that not going to float. All right. So friends, I'm going to sign off here, and I'll see if I can check in tomorrow. I'm going to the way that my throat has a lump in it right now, I will try to not be live, to try to rest it. Oh, it's 3:33 in the morning, how auspicious. Well, of course, something happens, I'll try to do something, but I don't think I'll even be awake before noon. Because tonight's been one hell of an emotional night. So yeah, good night, friends. And thanks for anybody who's hit the PayPal button up there and donated. Anybody who's donated the last few days, very much appreciated. And I'll get to my emails and stuff as soon as I can. Hit the like button, please, on the way out. That helps the algorithm thingy. Totally forgot to ask people about that before. And yeah, you're very well. Hey, Nixie, how you doing? Right now, everything's holding steady and it's all quiet on the Western Front.